All right, everyone, I am in a walking mood today in between a couple one-to-ones, and I wanted to make a video on all the problems that I tend to see surrounding body dysmorphia and body image related fears, and why they're growing at a rate that's causing massive amounts of depression, massive amounts of conditional self-acceptance, and it's being fueled by this ideological societal belief that you need to look a certain way in order to accept yourself, which is obviously not true, because that would mean that anyone who is overweight or anyone who didn't have muscle would never be able to accept themselves. So this is a really important thing to break down, because it's actually affecting people really problematically. It affected me for over 10 years. I've suffered immensely with body dysmorphia for a 10-year period, to where my entire day was consumed with body dysmorphia, 24/7. All I thought about was my weight. All I thought about was my belt line. All I thought about was, do I look good enough? All I thought about was the food I was going to eat. How's my workout going to be? Is my workout going to be perfect? And everything else in between. So it's a really, really big problem that we see, and it's affecting people in these massive rates, because you have all these people with millions of followers telling you that you need to look a certain way in order to accept yourself, which obviously is not true, because the people telling you that you have to look a certain way to accept yourself tend to be some of the most miserable people you've ever met in your life. So you know, obviously, that having a good physique does not correlate with any sort of unconditional acceptance, because if the people promoting this, they would not need to be chasing something that doesn't actually bring you happiness. So it's probably one of the number one reasons for suicides among bodybuilders, which we see at very high rates all the time. It's happening more and more. More people in the bodybuilding sphere are taking their life. More fitness models are taking their lives. And only because of one thing and one thing only. They think their physique means something about their personhood, which doesn't have any founding in unconditional self-acceptance. And again, this is a really, really, really big problem. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, comment. Hopefully someone's outside listening to this when I walk by and they're like, oh, maybe that affects me. And I didn't even know that. Probably not, because they would think I'm an idiot. Because most people, when they hear this, they get very defensive about this. Oh, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Oh, who's that? I know. They're a cute pit bull right here. He's right here, right on the fence. Okay, so what do we know is more than likely the best way to handle body-related fears? Okay, what's from a behavioral standpoint? Number one, never tracking your workout in your life. Now, this is going to bring a lot of heat. But when I sit down, if I pull the study of people that track their workouts on paper, they almost all have really unhealthy compulsive behaviors around tracking, OCD or not. Many of the people who are taking their lives in the bodybuilding world more than likely do not have chronic OCD. They just have had this belief system that has festered for so long, they don't know any other way to live. They don't know what to do. If I took away fitness from the top 10 Mr. Olympia bodybuilders tomorrow, almost all of them would spiral into chronic depression. I bet my entire life on it. It's because they don't know any other way. This is the same thing with an athlete, soccer player, basketball player, football player, especially ones who are praised and were pushed through school. I went to a D1 school. So I went to University of Central Florida, not to throw anyone under the bus. I saw what they did to the football athletes. They pushed them through. They never studied. They never came to class. The colleges pushed them through because they're money-making machines. This is why they allow people to do a lot of stupid shit in professional sports, because they have these $100 million contracts and they bring in so much money. Money rules everything in sports. It's much more important than the person's value of who they are and how much they're suffering. This is going to be a very hard video for people to hear, but most people with common sense think these things, but they're just afraid to say it for multiple reasons, because it's very difficult to cover these topics when there's so much money involved in sports and so many people are telling you that this is what you got to do. Anyway, okay, got a little bit on a tangent there on that one, but it's important. So again, we know that tracking your workouts on paper tends to be extremely problematic. It's very much similar to the drug to the person struggling with addiction, okay? The second thing, no MyFitnessPal, no tracking your calories whatsoever. You can lose weight by taking an overall awareness of your calorie intake without ever needing to cut your calories ever. You don't need to actually track them on paper. I tracked my calories on paper for the better part of almost 12 years. And I skipped dinners. I didn't go out to eat. I wouldn't go to people's houses at night. I wouldn't have desserts. And that's because I was afraid of the loss of control. And the other thing about fitness, with the tracking of your programming and tracking of your calories, that is such a minuscule, important life skill. It's not really a life skill. The other thing too is I hear this on a daily basis. I see really big people in the fitness industry, like top 3 I can think of, who are spouting this belief that just because someone's in good shape means that you can trust them with other things. I heard someone say, when a guy's in good shape, I know he has discipline. That is absolutely nonsense. Some of the most laziest people I've ever met in my life are fitness people, by far. They don't even want to mow the lawn because they're afraid they're going to lose muscle. And I'm not saying this to put them down. I was this person. I never did yard work. I would be petrified to do yard work because I was so afraid of losing muscle. I have a good friend of mine that lives up the street who owns a nonprofit for suicide prevention and drug addiction. And we talk about this all the time when I see him, and how much this affects people, and they don't even realize it's affecting them. And that's the main thing you want to remember, that just because you're disciplined with the gym, just because you're disciplined and count your calories, that has zero correlation with other life skills. Being a good parent, wearing low frustration tolerance and building it to high frustration tolerance, being able to problem solve on the workplace, and all those things. That has no correlation whatsoever, but people are convinced it does. And what I see is, I see a lot of people that they're like, oh, I got to sit home and work out and eat 6 meals a day. 0.0001% of people that work out are getting paid for it. So what happens is people are chasing this very low, basic function life structure that I was stuck in for so long. I took anabolic steroids for years, and I understand why people do it. But we got to remember is that life structure is not conducive with building life skills. It's just not. And we know this because we have so many people that feel stuck in the mud. They're like, I want to leave this lifestyle, but I don't know what to do because I don't know anything else about myself. This is all I know about myself. And that's a really big problem. So you're going to have to take that leap of faith. You're going to have to stop tracking your calories. That doesn't mean you can't have a plan of what to do. I have a rough idea of what I'm going to do when I go to the gym, especially because I'm going to start running more. So I've been running a little bit more and doing stuff like that. But I do, upper, lower, and switch them and take a couple days off during the week. But overall, that's as far as I go, because anything more than that becomes a compulsive trap. We're not saying you have to pick cards out of a hat when you get to the gym and be like, oh, I'm doing upper body today, or I'm doing lower body, or I'm doing chest and arms, whatever. No, you can have an idea, but you don't need to track things. You don't have to be meticulous about your rest times. You don't have to be meticulous about any of that stuff. And the more you're crazy about that, the harder it is for you to get underneath those beliefs. My neighbor didn't see me. She looked right at me. I think she's blind. No, they're not physically blind, but she's older, and she just looked at me. She's like, huh? So, which is hilarious. Anyway, a little moment of detract there. But yeah, that's the main thing you got to remember, that the rest times. I see these videos all the time. 90-second rests are killing your gains, or cardio kills your gains. This is all crazy stuff. It's crazy town. It's creating so many problems with people. Do you have any idea how many professional bodybuilders out there right now, or semi-amateur NPC athletes? CrossFit, it's not as bad because all the other exercises are built in. If you look at a psychological, healthier perspective, yes, people can definitely go all in on anything. That could be black and white on a chest. But the thing I like about CrossFit more than anything is that there's cardio and running and swimming, and it's not built off of a physical appearance. Yes, they're all jacked out of their minds and they're super muscular, men and women, but they're not afraid to do yard work. So the bodybuilders are specifically inherently fucked up because of this judging off their physical appearance, which is already a problem. Your physical appearance means nothing, again, about your personhood. It means nothing. You could be an overweight slob who smokes cigarettes and eats food all day long, but you could be the most balanced, calm individual. Sure, you have a control problem with food, but again, I know people, look at some of the most successful men and women in life who do incredible things. Most of them don't care about their biceps. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that the myth surrounding that your physique equals something about your overall discipline is one of the largest myths in fitness. And if it was so, then you wouldn't see all these other lazy behavioral traits. We have to call that for what it is. Lazy behavioral traits. based off of fear of losing muscle, based off of fear of not looking good. And it is a big problem. So again, if I took all these people and I asked them if they could do this or they could do that, they would be incredibly messed up. Hello. And they all are. They're all a mess. All of them. Every single one. Again, if I took all these bodybuilders and I said to them, you got to go dig a ditch in your backyard. Oh, I can't dig a ditch. I already trained lats today and I don't want to do that because then I'm going to lose. Oh my God, I'm not going to recover well. All the stuff about recovery. Most of the recovery stuff out there is nonsense. Your body will adapt. Your body's going to adapt to anything. If it wasn't as adaptable, people would have not survived Auschwitz. I know it's an extreme example. They all would have died. No one would have survived. No one would have been able to build the pyramids of Giza. No one would have been able to do any of that stuff. So we have to be realistic about what recovery is. What's the worst thing that happens? You don't recover as well. You don't build as much muscle. Is that really that important? No. And sorry, I was panting a little bit because I was speed walking a little bit and I went for a run not that long ago. We got Milo. He's like, why are you panting? Oh, shoot. And then we'll go see where Daisy is. This is just an intro video, many to come. We are having an influx of younger fitness individuals begging for us to do videos on this. They feel stuck. They feel that they can't get out. Please come in. We can help you. Look for the What's Up link down below. If it's not there, remember Phil at ocdrecovery.com. We can help you. I have come out the other side of this. I eat what I want, eat how I want. Look, I got these awesome salt pepper chips. I just got this $25 bag of popcorn. There's a Boy Scouts, that's why. I got this s'mores popcorn right here. I always have some of this. I have some of this like trail mix nuts. We always got chips, peanut butter, and this is the Jiffy kind, not all natural. I have sugary oatmeal. But I have regular oatmeal too. I have regular oatmeal. I have protein. Erica drinks wine because she loves that shit. I love whatever it's called. I just blanked out. You know what this is. These like turkey things. Anyway. And I have honey and I have supplements when I remember to take them, and we have frozen pizzas and we have bread. But it doesn't mean we don't have a lot of whole foods. Like last night we had sausage links and potatoes and vegetables and corn. So we balance this stuff, but it's a balancing act and I'm not looking to get it right all the time. This life is much better, in my opinion, because you're not constantly looking for perfection. You're not constantly looking for other people to approve of you. And this is a match. Do you have any idea how many people would not eat this? Regular Skippy, because they're like, oh, it's not natural. Oh, there's trans fats. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? The only reason you care is because you're afraid of dying. You're afraid of having stomach problems. I get that. And again, if you have a really big problem with this, we're not saying you can't balance it and be a little bit on the cautious side. There's certain foods that mess my stomachs up too. If I have a lot of pizza, I'm gonna pay for it the next day. Usually, not always, but I realize that the fear of being fat, the fear of it messing my stomach up, the psychological problems drive everything. We're not discrediting people with Crohn's and celiacs and autoimmune conditions and severe anaphylactic shock from allergies and peanut allergies. We're not saying you have to do an exposure and eat peanuts. That's not what we're saying. Always speak to your provider, your nutritionist. We're saying that psychologically that rules everything for the most part. I had to look at the time. I have another one-to-one. So remember, we can help you. You don't have to be stuck in that bodybuilding world forever. I don't have the six-pack abs I used to have. I'm moderately lean, but it's not the end of the world, and I'll probably gain weight as the years go on and my metabolism slows down, right? I do what I can. I do cardio on a daily basis, and I lift weights 5-6 days a week, and I leave it at that, and I hike. Anything else in between is completely out of my control. That's what I have control over in a non-compulsive way. My cardio input, that, and then I don't have to go crazy. So, again, this is something I'm very passionate about. We are, because Rob and I have both been down this route. We bolted the... you gotta eat clean. You gotta eat 6 times a day to speed up your metabolism. It's all crazy town, crazy nonsense, crazy amounts of supplements. The supplement industry is out of control. All I take on a daily basis is 5 grams of creatine monohydrate and my pre-workout. I've been taking that for years. And, sometimes I take a B complex and vitamin D and stuff like that. But these things are minuscule in the grand scheme of life. Very minuscule. Escape the world of supplements. Escape the world of bodybuilding. Can you bodybuild and have unconditional acceptance? You probably could. I rarely see it though, because it's based off of conditional self-acceptance, right? And I mean bodybuilding like you like competing in bodybuilding, right? You can do it. I'm sure there's people who have a very good perspective on, hey, look, I'm going to train for myself, and if I get judged poorly and they say I'm fat, it probably won't affect me, and I can, be like, oh, that sucks. That's not how most people are. They see pictures of themselves, and a famous bodybuilder who died, Cedric McMillan, he died of a heart attack, I believe. He was 44 last year, the year before that. He did a video one time, top 10 bodybuilder, about how bad he would pick himself apart. That is pure conditional self-acceptance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, Phil at ocrecovery.com, and we will get back to you soon, and that's the way it is. Have a good one, everyone.